can walk now. Come on, ain't nobody about to carry you no more. All right, let you see. So just sit down right here. And so here, look, he's got a seat at the king's table. Ain't this cool? So he's got a seat right here at the king's table. And he asks this question right here in the scripture. In 2 Samuel 9, 7, and 8, David tells him, don't be afraid, David said to him, for I will surely show you kindness for the sake of your father Jonathan. I will restore to you all the land that belonged to your grandfather Saul, and you will always eat at my table. You will always eat at my table. And Moshe said, bow down, and bow down, bow down. He bowed down, get down on your knees, son. And he bowed down, and he told the king, he said, what is your servant? What is your servant that you should notice a dead dog like me? Right here in the scripture, I could sense some insecurity right here where Moshe said he's wondering why he considers himself as a dead dog. Why would the king, as awesome as you are, will want to deal with somebody as trashless and worthless as I am? Why would you want to deal with me? That's the problem with insecure people, is that sometimes insecure people don't feel like they belong in the midst of greatness. They don't feel like they exist amongst, other great leaders. And insecure people always disqualify themselves. They always disqualify themselves. But you are worthy. And that's what I'm here to tell you today. You are worthy. Now, I used to always feel like I wasn't worthy to sit in front of great people. And what I mean by great people to me, because we're in high school, great people to me is AP kids. Now, I don't feel like I deserve to be in a classroom with AP kids. I don't feel like that. I sit every morning. I have AP economics, and these kids are so different, and they're so cool and all. And so I'm just sitting there, just acting like I'm just so smart, like I'm just supposed to be here. And sometimes I was like, God, I don't know why you have me here in these AP classes. Like, I'm not as smart as these kids. And I'm not saying I'm dumb or anything. I am smart, but I'm just not necessarily like on their, particular level, because I don't study like they do. But I guess I study for what I want to study for. Because people tell me, you want to study this Bible, you study this word, why can't you study your math? I'm like, oh my God. But it is true. But I have to learn here that I used to disqualify myself. Like, no, I don't deserve to sit here. I don't deserve to be there. And sometimes that's what we do when we're insecure. We disqualify ourselves. So here he is at the king's table, all right? And the king makes him a promise, all right? He tells him that he's going to hook him up with some servants, all right? He's going to hook him up with some servants. Yo, Moshe said, I got you some servants. And then he was like, I'm going to give you all the wealth, from your grandfather. Bam. So you got servants, you got some wealth. And then the last thing he said, you're going to always have a seat here at the king's table. Bam. So you always got a permanent seat right here at the king's table, all right? So his servants, he's got wealth, and he's got a permanent seat at the king's table. What would that first scripture say? Don't throw away your confidence. Don't cast away your confidence, which has a great reward. That was some great rewards from what Sheba said. Now he's sitting at the king's table, all right? Now, y'all can sit down, because I want to talk about some tips now that we can be confident, all right? Because Moshe said, it was a long story. That's something now. Y'all give him a round of applause. Okay, so these people now, Moshe said he lacked some confidence. He was a bit insecure in some ways, and he didn't think that he qualified to sit here amongst great people. Now, I want to talk about some tips on how to be more confident, but before I get there, I want to talk real quick, because we talked about this. He was crippled on outwardly, but he made him vulnerable inwardly. He had problems with his legs. He was crippled, and so I can imagine and look at myself through the story of Moshe in some ways, because of course, he had to shake some labels. He had a disability. He had some issues, problems with him that he had to learn how to shake off and move past. And he was placed he was, sent out of Lodebar, and he was sit here in the king's palace, a place for no communication. Now he's in a place where there's royalty. He's literally being shifted from one dimension to the next. And so I can see myself kind of being like Moshe said in some ways, because after I had my car wreck, I was I had was going to the chiropractor and stuff like that. And when I was going to the chiropractor, which I sometimes still go to, but not as much, she made me wear a neck brace. She made me wear the neck brace. She gave me a neck brace, and she said, all right, because this happened in October, so she gave me the neck brace. She was like, here, you're gonna wear this. I gave her the most ugliest look. I was like, what? Me, cause I'm not wearing no neck brace. She was like, hold on, wait, chill. She was like, you don't have to wear it. Now, she didn't say chill, but that's what I was thinking, Mom. She was like, hold on, wait, just, you don't have to. Why are you looking at me like that? She was like, you're not going to have to wear it in front of people. And when she said it, I was like relieved, because she was like, you don't have to wear it at school. I was like, all right, cool. And so, but I ended up having to wear it at home. And when you at home, you got siblings. And so siblings sometimes is just as worse as it would be at school. At school, at least somebody would be like, hey, bro, what's wrong with you? Good, But at home, when you got siblings, I felt like they were laughing at me. And I was paranoid with the neck brace on. I had the neck brace on. I was paranoid. I was paranoid. I always thought people was laughing at me. I thought, no, I did. Because my siblings, they would try on the neck brace. And I was like, what, you trying to be funny? I was like, God responds to expectations. So you showing them that that's what you want. You want a neck brace. All right, then. And, I was mad. And I was like, all right, y'all stop playing with me. I was mad. I was like, Mom, they making fun of me. They're like, Mom, we not even making fun of you. My mom like, y'all chill. This is a hard time for them. Stuff like that. She trying to help me out. And then I was starting to be nervous and paranoid. And I would wear it in the car, on my way to church or on the way to school. And stuff like that, because you have to have it on about 15 minutes, 3-4 times a day. So I had it on, had the neck brace on and stuff, and I would just be thinking that the people driving next to me were looking at me and laughing. I would just see people look over. I was like, oh my gosh, I was being paranoid. I was paranoid. I would be in my room just with the door closed, and I'd have it on, and I'd think people was watching me in there. I was paranoid with it, and I was starting to become insecure about it. I was insecure. And I didn't want to wear that. And there are multiple times in my life when I've been insecure and did not want to do certain things that I needed to do as because of insecurity. All right. So I hope this message is kind of hitting with you today, because you're understanding now that Moshiba said he lost his grandfather, he lost his father, he has no male role model around. He's crippled because he just got dropped at the age of 5. From 5 years old to the rest of his whole life, he's crippled. He's here in this place called Lodebar. No wonder how long he's been there. The Bible doesn't say how long he's been there, but it says that David, called for him, and he sent a word in Lodebar to send him, and bam, put him there at the king's table. He's got what? He's got servants, and he's got a permanent seat at the king's table. Bam, that's as good as it gets. But I want to talk to you today about how you can be more confident. Number one, you have to know who you are in God. Know who you are in God, all right? We got to start reading the Bible, because the Bible tells us what our true identity is, all right? So we got to start reading the scriptures, and the scriptures let you know what God thinks about you. And I'm telling you that what God thinks about you is not what you think about yourself, because I was thinking that I was ugly. I was thinking that, man, nobody likes me. And then I started realizing, well, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, for whosoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. And so I started to realize, wow. And so I was starting to read all these scriptures about being the apple of God's eye and all this other great stuff. And God has plans for me to prosper, not to harm me, but give me a hope of future and all this stuff like that. And I was like, whoa, I've got something to be happy about. And I started to become confident. And that's what I advise you to do, is start reading the scriptures. And I actually have a blog if you want to read it. A blog post that I wrote about what God thinks about you, and it goes into 20 scriptures, 20 great scriptures that you can just claim every morning about what God thinks about you. And number 2 is self-talk. Self-talk. We got to start having some positive self-talk. A lot of us, we talk negative about ourselves. You try on those jeans. Oh my gosh, I look so fat in these jeans. I look so ugly, and my hair is such a mess. I'm so ugly, I just wish I didn't have this acne or this problem or this insecurity. I wish I wasn't this tall. And we've got all these problems and all these things, and we're starting to lack confidence. We're starting to lack confidence, all right? So we got to start having some positive self-talk. If you want to increase your confidence, we must engage in positive self-talk, all right? I have a question for you. What have you been saying to yourself lately? What have you been saying to yourself, all right? Have you been saying things like, I'm so fat, I need to lose this gut of mine, or no one will ever love me, I'm so ugly, I'm way too emotional, things never go my way, I'm just a failure, I'm overly qualified or for this job, or I'm overly unqualified for this job, or I have a big nose, or all this other stuff that you've been saying to yourself. What have you been saying to yourself? And you want to start changing it around and start replacing those words that you've been saying about yourself. Start replacing those with the scripture, all right? And I told you I will give you the link to the blog. And number 3 is you got to understand that everyone has an opinion. Everybody's going to have an opinion about you. It doesn't matter. Everybody's going to say it was good. Then somebody's going to always find a flaw in everything. And I promise you, I'm always around people that I can do the best, and everybody will find some flaw about it. Man, I could preach one of the best sermons and everybody say, wow, bro, it was a good sermon, but what about those snacks, man? That wasn't a good snack. Like, really? Like, why are you being so critical and picky about everything? And they could just say something that just put everything down. But you got to understand, everyone has an opinion. You could think this message was good, but you're like, man, it was a good sermon, but he kept on repeating the same thing. He kept saying Lodebar 10 times, like it was a song. Like, oh, who cares? You're finding something critical about everything. And I started to have to ask myself this question. Am I a people pleaser or am I a God pleaser? Am I trying to please God or am I trying to please people? Who am I trying to get my approval from? From God or from people? I could wear this sweater and some of you can be like, man, you look nice in that sweater, dog. That's nice. And then somebody can say, man, you look like Mr. Rogers. So everybody has their own opinion. And when you understand that people are gonna always have an opinion about you, whether it's good or bad, then you just free yourself from it and you just develop a I don't care mentality. And that's what I'm starting to develop. I don't care. And then number 4 is you gotta avoid comparison. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Stop comparing yourself to what other girls look like. Stop comparing yourself to what other dudes look like. Stop comparing yourself to people. Stop. I used to compare myself all the time to preachers. And I was like, man, man, he did a way better job than I did at this. And I used to compare myself to writers. I used to compare myself to other leaders. And I had to stop comparing myself because when we compare ourselves to other people, we are foolish. And we are all basically in our own lane. We are all in our own lane. Just stay in your lane. Stop doing that. Insecure people, they love the comparison game. They love to compare people. Compare themselves to others. So stop comparing yourself to others, because when you compare yourself, you start to operate out of jealousy. And then the last thing is just be you and love you. Just love you. Get to know yourself. Love yourself. Be yourself. Just be yourself. Don't change who you are for anybody. Don't change yourself. Don't change your love that you have for certain things, your hobbies, your interests. And why you got to change it up for people? Why you got to act ashamed because you a Christian in front of the girl you like? She fine, man, but she don't believe in God. All right, why you got to be ashamed to talk about it? I was like, you go to church? Yeah, no, baby, I don't. My mama made me go. No, you like going to church. You like lifting up your hands and praising. Why? Be yourself. Be yourself. Be yourself and love who you are. You like Michael Jackson, man? Yes, I do. I like it. Yes, I do. No, don't look at me like, oh, you like old school music. You don't like the trap music. Be yourself. You don't got to fit in with everybody. Love who you are, all right? I'm done. David sent the word to Mephibosheth and Lodebar, and God is sending you a message today in your Lodebar, in your low place, in your insecure, in your isolated, in your lonely place, in your emotional state, in your place where there's no communication. He wants you to know today that he wants you to come out of your place of insecurity and step into confidence and step into your destiny. And that's the word today. All right? It was just a message and Lodebar. All right. Thank y'all for watching. Thank you for being here. God bless you. No, I'm just playing. Thank y'all for watching. For real. Hope you learned something today about the message in Lodebar. If you want to be an actor, hit me up. You know my number. All right. Bye. Okay. So message.